So it's my pleasure to introduce the 2026 AIAA Goddard Astronautics Award this morning. The award is the highest honor that AIAA bestows for notable achievement in the field of astronautics. It was endowed by Mrs. Goddard in the 1940s to commemorate her husband, Robert H. Goddard, the father of modern rocketry. As we've been reminded throughout this week, Goddard was a rocket visionary, pioneer, bold experimentalist, and superb engineer. His early liquid rocket engine, launched 100 years ago, set the stage for the development of astronautics as we know it today. So, as an aside, I went to Worcester, Massachusetts, where he did this in March, and then, of course, a model of the rocket. But, the rocket was only about that big, and it launched only 41 feet into the air. That was it. And look at what we can actually do today as an example of what came out of that. So the 2026 AIAA Goddard Astronautics Award is presented to the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, the National Space Agency of India. ISRO is known for pursuing its space science, technology, and application program with exceptional cost efficiency. Established in 1969, ISRO is built on the philosophy that space technology must directly serve national development while advancing global scientific knowledge. ISRO has consistently demonstrated world-class capabilities across satellite development, launch vehicle development, space applications, and deep space exploration. It has built a robust fleet of satellites for communication, navigation, Earth observation, and science that support national needs, including natural resources management and disaster risk reduction. In recent years, ISRO has achieved key milestones with successful missions to study the Moon, Mars, and the Sun, with a clear roadmap towards human spaceflight, advancing planetary exploration, reusable launch systems, and private sector integration. ISRO is shaping the future of India's space economy. ISRO is a symbol of India's scientific confidence and a powerful contributor to the advancement of space activities globally. So the 2026 AIAA Goddard Astronautics Award is presented for the groundbreaking landing of ISRO's Chandrayaan-3 near the lunar South Pole region to deepen our understanding of the Moon and beyond. And accepting the award today is His Excellency Mr. Vinay Quatra, Ambassador of India to the United States. Please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Hastings. Thank you very much, Dr. Hastings, Mr. Maury, see him here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me indeed to receive this prestigious 2026 AIAA Goddard Astronautics Awards for Chandrayaan-3 on behalf of Indian Space Research Organization, whose objectives and achievements Dr. Hastings just very briefly recounted, on behalf of Government of India and, of course, the people of India. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, AIAA, and the jury for this award. In August 2023, with Chandrayaan-3, India became the first country in the world to land near the South Pole region of the Moon and the fourth country to land on the Moon. The Honorable Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, named the landing site of Chandrayaan-3 as Shiv Shakti point. The successful launch of the Chandrayaan-3, as my Prime Minister said on its successful launch, it mirrors the aspirations and capabilities of 1.4 billion Indians. To new horizons and beyond, it was indeed, as he said, a proud moment for India. For us in India, the space is, of course, about exploration and discovery, but it is also about using space to empower our people and contribute to the economic growth. The fact that the mission planning, execution, and precision soft landing of Chandrayaan-3 could be achieved in under a $100 million budget speaks to the abilities, drive, and purpose of the Indian scientific community. The scientific results and data from the satellite are encouraging and available, of course, to the global scientific community. It's a matter of privilege for me to be a part of this important event in DC, which is being attended by executives and luminaries from the global space community. While on the subject, I must also mention that space domain is one of the key anchored priorities for India. Its development is clearly outlined in Prime Minister Modi's space vision for 2047. It's also one of the key anchors in the India-US partnership identified by the leadership of our two countries, Prime Minister Modi and President Trump. Some of its recent achievements include NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar, NISAR satellite, naturally visit of India's astronaut Gaganyatri to the International Space Station, and the commercial launch of US satellite Bluebird 6 by India. India and US are also Artemis Accords partners. Once again, I sincerely thank the organizers for this award and for recognizing ISRO's rich achievements through this award. Thank you very much for honoring. Thank you. I have to come back. Thank you.
Now turning to today's opening session, I'd like to invite my dear friend Pascal Ahrenfreund, President of the Committee on Space Research, or COSPAR, and a research professor at the Space Policy Institute at George Washington University, to join us for a fireside chat on stage. Please come back.
Good morning, everybody, and it's wonderful that you are with us, also so early. I would like to welcome the Ambassador of India to the United States and to this fire chat, and I want to introduce you a little bit to the audience. So Ambassador Vinay Quatra joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1988. And his career spans over 36 years. And Ambassador Quatra has served in senior roles both in Delhi and across the globe. Prior to assuming his assignment of Ambassador of India to the United States, he served as India's Foreign Secretary from 2022 to 2024. And he also served as Ambassador of India to Nepal from 2020 to 2022, and finally as Ambassador of India to France, and was also the permanent representative of India to UNESCO from 2017 to 2020. An outstanding career, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So you have already given a small attribute, to this wonderful prize. Congratulations again
much
on the award to Chandrayaan-3. And so we would like to ask you a little bit if you can tell us about India's previous lunar missions and the journey, to launch actually Chandrayaan-3.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you for honoring the achievements of ISRO and in particular the launch of Chandrayaan-3. I was commenting to Dr. Pascal backroom that in my entire career, I don't think I have ever been interviewed by a person who has an asteroid named after her. Yeah. And I was doubting myself whether I should be interviewing her or actually the other way around, because I'm not, an expert in this domain. But it's a humbling experience to be among such a distinguished gathering here this morning. In terms of what you inquired about India's previous lunar missions, so it goes back to 2008 when Chandrayaan-1 was launched, which was India's first deep space mission. Historic in terms of the scientific contribution that the mission was able to make to the understanding of the moon, in terms of discoveries on water and hydroxyl. Chandrayaan-2 was launched in 2019. Of course, we are all aware of the problems with the lander, but the orbiter of Chandrayaan-2 is still active and produced high-resolution maps of the moon ever made. And then came Chandrayaan-3 in 2023, a historic and landmark day for India, for the people of India and ISRO. Soft landing near the moon's south polar region, which I understand is an area of great scientific and strategic significance and never before explored at the surface level, and confirmed presence of many key elements of the south polar soil. So in a way, journey from Chandrayaan-1 to Chandrayaan-3 is a journey, as my Prime Minister say, in confidence of our past and resolve for our future. In the process, of course, it has given ISRO, continues to give ISRO opportunities to perfect some of the technologies that would be required for the future lunar missions that India has in the pipeline.
Well, we have been discussing, the really vibrant lunar exploration here at this conference in the last days, and obviously also the government of India has approved several space exploration programs. And so what are the upcoming lunar missions, and how do you see the future, the contribution of India to this really vibrant space exploration area?
Yeah. Before I come to that, I just want to highlight one part, because there is a thread in this which runs through these missions and is aimed at an objective at the other end, and that is the vision that I briefly alluded to in my opening remarks that my Prime Minister has said for space. It's called Space Vision 2047. And it has 4 key anchors. Technological advancement, one aspect of it. International partnerships, second aspect of it. Building an entire space ecosystem which has robust government lead, but also a very dynamic private sector presence is the third part of it. And the fourth is the space exploration part of it. This is where, these are interlinked in many ways in terms of where we are and where we want to reach. And one of the underlying goals there is also to have a self-reliance across the entire space supply chain, up, mid, and the downstream. So that's the context in which this series of Chandrayaan missions have been planned. Chandrayaan-4 is the next, which, if all goes well, we are tracking for launch next year, 2027. Planning is for it to land near the lunar south pole and collect and bring moon samples back to Earth. It will also enable us to demonstrate and deploy complex technologies, including docking in orbit, high-capacity landing, I believe heavy satellites basically, and re-entry. And as I said, this is an intrinsic part of our Prime Minister's Space Vision for 2047, which eventually envisions Indian astronauts on the moon by 2040. It would also contribute to building future crewed mission, Chandrayaan-4. And Chandrayaan-5, which is being done in international partnership with JAXA, with the European Space Agency, and with NASA, is aimed at exploring water ice on the moon. And essentially, it would be another key point as we transition to the crewed lunar mission in the subsequent years.
Wonderful. Chandrayaan-4, Chandrayaan-5, and you already mentioned a little bit in your overview about about the new initiatives for the private sector. And so how is actually India balancing, its focus on cutting-edge scientific missions alongside, really being open to the private sector?
In many ways, if you actually look at it very granularly, Prime Minister's Space Vision for 2047, whose elements I highlighted, and if you look at the acronym of this conference, ASCEND, which is accelerating space, commerce, exploration, and new discoveries, you converge the two and you get an intersection set of what we are trying to do in our own space sector. Space exploration is a key aspect of it, but at the same time, integrating the achievements that we have in space with our own governance objective and our own economic growth is equally crucial for us, and that's the part which has been laid out. In that, as I have remarked, there is a central role for ISRO and leading the development of technologies, but there is also a huge space opportunity and momentum for the private sector to be incorporated in terms of the role. And this is being done through a series of policy measures on the ground. So we have Indian space policy that was announced in 2023, which operates these two objectives of exploration involving private sector, deploying achievements of private sector for governance purposes, for governance objectives, and for coming together the industrialization aspect of the supply chains into the space sector. So it sort of networks the two. We have set up the new space regulator, which is an IN-SPACE. ISRO has set up its commercial arm, which is NSIL. And private sector gets to use the ISRO's capabilities in developing itself, including, for example, now the SSLV, that is a small-scale launch vehicle technology, has been transferred from ISRO to a public sector undertaking for further use and exploitation. The result is we have a robust private sector in the space domain now, close to, I would say, 400 odd startups across the entire supply chain of space. Launches, I mentioned, payload integration, Earth observation, and other downstream services. Space is a growing economy in India. We are still relatively small at about close to 8 to 10 billion, but the objective is that in coming years, we would touch at least 50 odd billion, and this robust convergence of the government lead and the private sector participation will help us tap into that growing space economy through self-reliance. So you have, it's a recent, so I would say post-2020 development, recent but a rapidly progressing aspect of the space, where the government, the private sector, the government's objectives, and the exploration, they all come together in a harmonious way in this sector.
Yeah, wonderful. And I think Clay and myself, we have been to the CLEX meeting, in New Delhi last year, and it was really, really exciting, how the space ecosystem actually forms in India. So I want to come, because we are here at AIAA, a little bit to the topic of international cooperations and collaborations, which India is actually engaged in the space sector.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, one of the key parts of India's space vision for 2047 is building international partnerships. It is the nature of this domain that while we will do what is necessary and required to build the space sector in India, it's the nature of this space that international partnerships are critical. Indeed vital for the larger benefits that it bestows to the community, to the humanity. As my Prime Minister has said, that India's space journey is not just about our own scientific and economic growth, but also about partnering with others to achieve greater heights in terms of scientific exploration. So throughout the development of our space program, international partnerships have been one of the cornerstone objectives, whether it is the launching of the joint satellite missions, hosting international instruments on Indian spacecraft, establishing overseas ground stations, launching foreign satellites. Large bulk of foreign satellites launches we have done post 2014 when the Prime Minister took over, and sharing data and expertise with space agencies worldwide. In fact, data exchange with NASA has been perhaps one of our oldest partnership. Just to give you a sense of foreign satellite launches, we have done about 400 odd foreign satellite launches from different nations. I already mentioned about our partnership with the US, launch of the ISRO, the synthetic aperture radar Earth observation satellite last year. It was really a landmark thing. Indian astronaut traveling as part of Axiom-4 mission to the International Space Station. This was India's first human space flight mission to the ISS, and a significant milestone in India-US human space flight cooperation. And most recently, while it's been 5 months, in December last year, India launched the heaviest satellite ever lifted from Indian soil, and it was the Bluebird 6 from AST Space Mobile, marking a major commercial milestone in the India-US partnership. We have also been partnering with other countries which have aspirations to go to space for exploration and for their own development objectives. We do it more as a part of our development cooperation objectives with other developing countries. In fact, when India held the presidency of G20 a couple of years ago, we even launched ISRO even launched a G20 satellite, which is aimed at providing climate observation, pollution tracking, and weather monitoring data for G20 nations. So specifics aside, the broad thrust, the thrust based on principle and philosophy is that this is something which is in service of humanity, and international partnerships are central to that in some sense.
Thank you. That was a very comprehensive answer about all the different collaborations, and in particular also here in the United States. And you mentioned the vision, of Indians on the moon. Can you outline a little bit human spaceflight missions which are actually targeting the near future and this really exciting space exploration era?
Yes, this is indeed one of the priority areas as part of the Vision 2047. It has, if you want to just at 30,000 feet have a timeline sense to it. So we are tracking the first module of the Indian space stations called Bharatiya Antariksh Station, BAS. First module of it launch in 2028. Full operational capability 2035, and Indian first crewed landing on moon, as I mentioned, in 2040. We are also looking at India's own space mission, what we call as a Gaganyaan program. It's already entered the final phase with the first human space flight now scheduled for the first quarter of next year. These are the, and we have already spoken about the upcoming lunar missions, Chandrayaan 4 and 5. So Chandrayaan 4, 27, 28, first block of the first module of the Indian space station, 28, 2035, the entirety of it is set up. And that whole space is also available for experimentation across different domains: science, medicine, agriculture, advanced manufacturing. And in 2040, we head towards the tracking, at least the crewed moon landing. And in between is the entire suite of technology, processes, and protocols that get perfected. But that's broadly the timeline that's being tracked.
Well, it's exciting times ahead, and I'm going to ask one of my final questions, because you have really shown, the breadth of the program of ISRO, and we have discussed one topic in particular also at this conference, and that is space debris and sustainability. Yeah. And the increasing concerns today. So how is ISRO actually and India contributing to sustainable practices in its missions?
Yeah, I do recall from one of my previous responsibilities in the diplomatic profession that the issue of space debris has always been very central to planning the space mission, and very central to how countries of the world cooperate to ensure that space debris is at least minimized and tracked. So for us, it's a kind of philosophy embedded in the space program. So ISRO and India is also committed to having zero debris missions by 2030. Debris-free space mission initiative is what we call it, both across the public sector, the government sector, and the private sector. We have been following it not just as a matter of philosophy and principle, but also as practice. So in case of Chandrayaan 3, the propulsion module which would have added to the space debris, we decided not to leave it behind in the lunar orbit, but returned it to Earth orbit after its primary mission was complete. Mm-hmm. So it was a very clear demonstration of how we approach this issue. So it's something which is non-negotiable in terms of how we plan the mission. We have also set up something known as Project Netra. Netra stands for Network for Space Object Tracking and Analysis. One of the initiatives and ways for us to track the space debris, actively monitor it, build based on that and other data exchanges that we have with the international partners, a collision avoidance protocol, strengthen them further, because the inventory of debris, there are some countries, US has the largest inventory of what's up there in the space because of its strength and history of its own program. At the same time, we also work with the international initiatives which are aimed at management and governance of this debris. So whether it is the Space Debris Coordination Committee, the UN Committee on Peaceful Uses of Outer Space, COPUS, and the Technical Committee of the International Astronautical Federation. Alongside debris management, the aspect of sustainability is, again, it's something which is sustainability is a lifestyle thing in India. So it's a living philosophy which gets embedded into each of our programs. Insofar as the space is concerned, we try to incorporate that in terms of how the propellants are managed. Sustainability for us is really not an afterthought. It is perhaps one among the starting points when we engineer or design a mission. And the whole idea is that since the outer space is a preserve for the benefit of entire humanity, it has to be kept as safe as possible for the benefit of the future generations to come. So it's kind of central thread which runs through most of what we do.
These are wonderful, wise words. I just want to summarize a little bit. We went really in the last 20 minutes, about the incredible achievements of the Indian space program, particular space exploration. We know that there is much more out there, and also how you actually very well integrated, a space exploration also in this space ecosystem and building up the private sector, that you are collaborating internationally, particularly also with the United States, but all over the world. And that there is really exciting future with the Gaganyaan program and other missions, and that you're also really thinking about responsible space, like so many nations, and engaged with UN COPUS. And I just think that this is quite fascinating, and we have seen that when we were in India last year for the new generation of India, for the young generation, in order, to go further and be part of such a program. This is why we are, doing that and also meeting at these conferences, to inspire the next generation to really shape the space sector. So I want to really thank you, Your Excellency Ambassador. We are honored that you have been with us here at Ascent, that you have shared your message. And actually, in appreciation of your participation, I have to present you with the IAA challenge coin.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Really an honor.